Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
Okay, ma'am, just a few rules to follow for your new windows and doors.
Okay.
No washing.
For how long?
Forever. No shades, no furniture within 4 feet of the window.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, I'd stack your furniture in the center of the room, and after the first rain, stay away from the window.
You're freaking me out.
There's no need to be freaked out about installing new doors or windows. Renewal by Andersen has installed over 100,000 windows and doors.
Oh, and don't lean on the window. We wouldn't want you falling out.
I can't lean against the window?
No, you can lean, just don't put any weight on it.
The guy who sold me the windows didn't tell me that.
Don't know. I'm just a subcontractor for the contractor.
Renewal by Andersen has master craftsmen who follow your job from start to finish.
Oh, and the picture window in the back room, it was an odd size, so we made it a little smaller.
How much smaller?
Yeah, about 5 feet smaller.
Yeah, well, now it's not a picture window.
Well, sure it is, if you hang a picture on it.
Brilliant.
Yep, that's why you pay us the big bucks. By the way, I only take cash.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit Acclaim windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Andersen. Learn more at rbarapidcity.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Champion and men's hoops will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Florida and Houston playing for that national championship. They'll tip off at 8:50 Eastern time tonight. This afternoon in Detroit.
The 1-0. Swinging line drive down the left field line. Deep. Got a chance. Gone. Andy Ibanez drills a 3-run, 2-out, 3-run home run to left.
Did it for the Tigers on the Tigers Radio Network. They topped the Yankees today 6-2. Aaron Judge, an RBI in the losing effort, his 18th of the season. Tonight in the NBA, the Heat face the Sixers, and the Heat say Bam Adebayo is questionable to play as he's dealing with back issues. Portland Trailblazers gave GM Joe Cronin a multi-year contract extension, while the Jacksonville Jaguars exercised the fifth-year option on the contract of defensive end Trayvon Walker. I'm Dan Beyer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, right here on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're tuning in. Appreciate you on the radio side. Hope you're ready to go on this Monday. We'll get a preview from San Antonio, talking national championship tonight. I'm going to get into all the good stuff tonight. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, local, regional, national. We got Justin Sell tonight, South Dakota State Athletic Director. Big changes with SDSU across the board. Let's get going. It's always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. And we're back on a Monday, the Nate Brown Show ready. Let's look at the guest lineup. Justin Sell popping in this hour, so hang on. The Jacks hire new men's basketball coach, but they stay in-house again, and they go with Brian Peterson. He just got introduced Friday. We'll talk to Justin Sell about that plan and changes in the men's basketball program over the years. How does he deal with the transfer portal? And they hire in-house the last few times, and we'll take a look at it with Justin Sell. Also, on the football side, as spring football with new coach Dan Jackson's been rolling. Justin Sell on tap, SDSU. We'll get his reaction to Sacramento State and the FCS jumping to the FBS. That's one of the big storylines from last week as well. That's on tap. We'll go to Chris Denker. He's talking national championship tonight. Chris Denker, NetScoutsBasketball.com. Who does he have, Florida or Houston? I'm going to tell you, he had Auburn and Duke like me. That we were just a little bit off. A little bit off. It should have been Duke, I will tell you that. And it should have been Auburn, I will tell you that. But nonetheless, Chris Denker coming in, NetScoutsBasketball.com, former D1 head coach. He'll preview tonight. I'm rolling Florida tonight for whatever that's worth. I am rolling Florida tonight. I don't think Houston has enough, but we shall see. Jake Sorensen's on from Lincoln, Nebraska. He's on 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln every morning. Jake Sorensen on the Huskers. How about that? The players just won $300,000 in the college basketball crown. We're going to get into the debate that Husker Nation is having today. Is it better to get into the college basketball crown and win that whole thing like they did, and they got the cash flowing, $300,000 for the winner, no money for Coach Hoiberg, sorry. He's got plenty. But the players get the money out of this college basketball crown, or is it better to get in the real tournament even though the Huskers would have got bounced? I mean, that's the debate that you can have. You want to get into a postseason tournament and win games and finish on a win, or the Huskers get to the real tournament like they did last year and get bounced in the first round right away. Jake Sorensen's coming up, 93.7 The Ticket. And then Rapid City Stevens hiring a new head football coach. There's been changes across the board there. Another new coach is being hired. His name is Willie Steven. And he'll join us live tonight talking how can you build up the Rapid City Stevens football program. Their new head coach now, Willie Steven. We'll talk to him straight ahead. All right, let's get you on. 605-720-1067. That is the Pizza Ranch studio hotline. 605-720-1067. You got the number. Barron's Wilson text line ready to go. Direct text the show, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson listener text line, 605-720-1067. Okay, I don't know if all of you know this, because I'm not that much of a homer. I'm a homer for the Broncos, I admit, but then I try and give you some objective analysis and bring your Vikings guests on and your Packers guests and across the board. I try to not be a homer, okay? So many of you, did you know that I am a Dookie? I am an absolute Dookie. I've been that way since long ago, since when I was a kid, watching the great Duke teams take national championships and Coach K. And I guess there's no gray area. Like, is there a thing here? You're either a Dookie like me or you hate Duke. Is there any in between in sports fans? Sports fans today, because I'm getting all this reaction. Yes, I was watching the Final Four Saturday night with a buddy, having a great time, and we were just shooting it around, just, talking and watching the game. And I didn't feel any danger at all of Duke losing that thing on Saturday. I mean, there was zero danger. Now, Houston kind of was keeping it close. I thought Duke could have maybe blown them away in that first half. They got up by 10, 11, and they couldn't quite do it. Then they get up by 13, 14 in the second half late. And I'm thinking, this is all good. There's no way. So I was already fast-forwarding to today. I was already talking to my buddy Saturday night. I was fast-forwarding to today. I've said, man, this Florida-Duke game's going to be great. This is going to be good, but I think Duke's just so good defensively. They're so elite offensively. They have the best player. So I was already, and then what happened? You all know what happened. As a Dookie, what was my reaction Saturday night? I was absolutely, I didn't say a thing. I left his house. And he said, I'm surprised. I mean, he kind of, he said, you're not saying much. Maybe he thought I was losing my mind. I wasn't losing my mind, but I just expected the game was over. Duke had it. It was in the bag. It was no problem. And then they have the meltdown, and Houston gets the win, and I come away, and now I got to take heat from all of these Duke haters. And I come to find out, there is no in-between on Duke. Is there any other college basketball team like that? Who's the equivalent of the Duke Blue Devils? Like, you're a Duke fan. You were since, the 90s and all of that run. And so you're a Duke fan like me, and I think there's like two other people that are on my side in this in this back and forth. The haters come out. All of you guys, they just love when Duke loses. Is there any in-between at all? It seems like there's not. And I'm going to ask you this. Here's my question of the day. It's a fun one. I'm trying to give myself counseling today. You finish my sentence. I wanted to watch Duke what? Lose Saturday night like they did, Final Four. Did you get enjoyment out of watching that? I got messages from people that they did. I got messages that they loved watching Duke lose Saturday. But you finish my sentence. I wanted to watch Duke lose Saturday night, lose tonight, like on the big stage, or you actually were wanting Duke to win the national championship. Which side do you land on the Nate Brown Show? So I know who I'm talking to on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. I want to know. I wanted to watch Duke what? Lose Saturday night, lose tonight, or win the Natty? That's my question of the day as we start. I'm trying to see if you will admit, all of you guys that don't like Duke, you actually wanted them to play tonight so you could see the high-profile program, the high-profile player in Cooper Flagg, and then you wanted him to go down in flames tonight. That's the number one answer, right? Is that the number one answer? Let's see. It is not. And it should be. I'm here to tell you, you guys got to admit, you wanted to watch Duke tonight. Duke and Florida tonight, way more interesting for you than Florida-Houston. Like way more. You may have taken enjoyment out of Saturday night when I was stunned. I didn't know what happened. You may have taken enjoyment, but you would have really enjoyed, I want to watch Cooper Flagg and Duke tonight. And then you still would have rooted against Duke tonight. That's the game you wanted to see tonight. I'm just trying to get you Duke haters to admit that you actually want to watch Duke in the high-profile matchup tonight. I'm just trying to give myself counseling, understanding. This is why we are the program. And by the way, Duke is the better team. They got beat. That was a meltdown. They are the better team. They got beat Saturday night. Should not have gotten beat Saturday night. Let's go to the question here. Finish my sentence. I wanted to watch Duke what? Lose Saturday night, lose tonight, because you wanted to watch them. That's what I believe is the number one answer. Or you wanted to watch Duke win the Natty. What is your answer to the question of the day? Listener text. As a Vikings fan, I feel your pain just when you think you're on your way, and boom, it's gone. Yeah. Listener text, Duke choked that game away, and the world felt at peace Saturday night. Well, that's nasty. This is what I've been dealing with the last 48 hours. What is it with you guys? Well, why do people hate Duke? I've never understood this. They're like one of the most hated programs in the country. And I don't like teams that are hated. I don't like the Yankees. I don't like the Cowboys, right? So what is it with Duke that you guys don't like Duke? Let's see. Listener text, I had Duke playing St. John's tonight and losing to St. John's. Well, you're way off. You're way off. Listener text, I wanted to watch him tonight, but watch him lose to Florida. There's the honest answer. That is the honest answer right there. Let's see. Number one answer, 52% of you. Finish my sentence on the Nate Brown Show. I wanted to watch Duke what? Lose tonight? Lose Saturday night? Or actually win the national championship? 52% of the audience tonight. Number one vote getter. You wanted to watch Duke lose Saturday night. I'm not buying it. So you're juiced up to watch Houston tonight? You're really juiced up to watch Houston. If you picked them in your bracket, I get it, but there's not very many of you that did. 36% of you joining Nate Brown tonight. I feel pretty good about that. 36% say you wanted Duke to win the national championship. Is that because you're a Duke fan, or you actually are trying to win money in your bracket pool as well? I'll take it, though. I'll take your support. 36% of you voting, I wanted Duke to win the Natty. 12% of you say, I wanted to make it tonight and then lose tonight. I thought that would be the honest number one answer. By the way, enough of my counseling today. I just had to get that out of the way. I wanted to see why so many Duke haters. Let me ask you this question. So, people say Kelvin Sampson beat Jon Scheyer Saturday night. Kelvin Sampson, the veteran, so good, so much history, and had just been around the game. Kelvin Sampson beat Jon Scheyer. Duke scored one field goal in the final 10 minutes of that game. That's how it slipped away. I was sitting here thinking, well, it's kind of getting eaten away a little bit, but I was still fine. I almost left my buddy's house early. I was like, I think we're good here. We were watching both games, so I got to let him get to bed. And I said, I'm going to head out. And then I stuck around, and it's like 9, 7, 6. 6-point lead with 40 seconds left. So, do you believe that the coach beat the coach? This is what I want to know. Is this where Jon Scheyer takes the blame because you think the players, the players, they needed some help. They needed help. Do you think the coach actually beat the coach instead of Houston beating Duke? Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
I think Scheyer might have beat himself. What was he waiting for on that timeout to use that for?
I don't know.
When they were struggling on those inbounds.
Boy, that looked bad. That looked bad to me. I'm looking at it going, how can you not get the ball in? I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, but still, they had a couple attempts that I can understand once, but they really struggled, like with a few, and then just to throw it in there without using that timeout, I just didn't understand that. So
you say Scheyer takes some heat?
I think he should. He had that sitting there. So, and then we're a funny society. We want our kids to win everything they're in. But boy, if teams start winning, we don't like them.
Like Duke, right?
Oh,
that's right.
Well,
anybody.
Duke, yeah. See you later.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man. When anybody, that's it. That's it. He answered the question. Why do we hate Duke? Because they've won. By the way, I had to tell my daughters this. They were upset. It was probably good that I wasn't watching the game with them on Saturday night. Probably a little better for their mental health, but because they kind of see me, flip a switch, and that's not always great. But they were upset. I thought Duke was going to make it, and Cooper Flag and this. Duke hasn't played in the national championship since 2016. Can you believe that? How about that? 9 years. So let's not hate Duke as much anymore. I mean, they're not even in the big games anymore. Would you blame Jon Scheyer? Is the question that I'm getting at. You got to be careful here because the players that were young out there seemed like they got tight. I think Scheyer did call a timeout there later. It wasn't late, but he called a timeout. They were up by 8. And I thought that was a good timeout. They were up by 8. This is like 3 minutes left or 2.5, something like that. And I thought he called a timeout, and I thought this is a good one here. He's going to settle him down. We're good. We've been in control the whole time. They come out and they miss a layup. So you got to be careful on the coaching side. Cooper Flag hit shots early and then couldn't hit squat. And, I mean, he had some good looks. Maybe he's tired. He played the whole game. I don't know, but the players have to make the plays. There's a couple of things here or there with coaches, but players have to make the plays. And I think Duke had the best players. They got tight. Houston had some dogs defensively, and they just locked it down. It went up in smoke. It was amazing to see. Listener text. Nate, I'm a huge Duke homer. I had Duke and Auburn. Houston might get some good support with the game being in San Antonio tonight. I think Duke Auburn or Duke Florida would have been a better game. Yeah, I'm pretty much with you. I think Florida's going to take down Houston tonight is my early read. Florida's going to end, I had Duke Auburn, so At least I had my Final Fours. But I think Florida is going to take down Houston. That's my big take as we start the show tonight. Careful about blaming Jon Scheyer, because here's what people don't understand as I've watched Duke. They've played as good a defense this year. Every guy out there, he got Cooper Flagg to be an unbelievable defender, everybody. He had a lot of stuff cooking, and then when they get tight and the players don't make plays, then we like just blaming Jon Scheyer. He had that team playing as good a defense as I've ever seen. Coach K, defensively, his team started kind of going the other way. You remember R.J. Barrett playing great defense years ago? Not quite. NBA player, but not there. So Jon Scheyer, I think really, really solid. I don't like blaming Scheyer over 2 minutes when the players didn't make the plays. We'll ask Chris Denker what he says. He's a coach, former D1 college basketball coach. How much blame does Jon Scheyer take for Saturday night's meltdown? Chris Denker next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Andersen is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Sports Rapid City forecast. High temperatures reach up to 60 this afternoon under sunny skies. Winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. 37 tonight, partly cloudy. Partly cloudy tomorrow, chance for storms 68. Temps above average Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the low 60s. Chance of rain Wednesday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 59.
Get ready to swing into spring at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort with grand prize drawings that will win you a different kind of green. We've teamed up with Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club to bring you grand prize drawings every Friday and Saturday night in April. We'll draw for free rounds of golf, and one lucky winner each night will win a couple's membership. Elkhorn Ridge offers a full resort experience with tennis courts, a pool, restaurant, bar, and one of the nicest golf courses in the area. Swing into spring and take your game to the next level, exclusively at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort in Deadwood.
Shop the region's largest selection of spirits, wines, and beers at the best prices today at both Mr. Liquor locations in Rapid City. The big 175 bottle of Absolute Vodka is only $29.99. Get set for Cinco de Mayo with Jose Cuervo Tequila. Save $3 on a handle, now just $35.99. Or Crown Royal on special for $29.99 for the 750 milliliter. Price is good at the new Mr. Liquor 2 next to Walmart off Catron or on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on. Monday reaction. My Dukies went down. I hope you're happy. I just got a listener text said, Duke lost, Nate. Get over it. Take it easy. Justin Sells coming up. South Dakota State Athletic Director tonight, live on the Nate Brown Shows. Hang on. Justin Sell, live from Brookings. Big discussion. Just hired a new basketball coach, Brian Peterson, the assistant there the last 6 years. Justin Sell coming up talking Jacks. Straight ahead. Chris Denker, his reaction to Final Four Saturday and the championship tonight. Well, I know one thing. Chris is wrong on, like me. We had the Final Four, and now we're off on the national championship. So how did that go down? Florida, Houston. Chris Denker, former D1 head coach, now with NetScoutsBasketball.com. Chris, welcome on. How are you?
Thanks, Nate. Doing well.
All right, man. I'm excited for tonight. Not as excited as I would have been. Your team, when my team goes down, that was a killer, man. I wasn't worried about that game the whole game, Chris. And as you were watching this, you know how basketball games flow. I wasn't worried about it the whole time. I guess I wasn't worried about it until those last 2 free throws after the Cooper flag foul. That was the only time I was worried. How did you see it?
Yeah, interesting. I was telling my family or anybody that would listen, I always, the coach in me comes out, and I wouldn't say at the 8-minute mark, but I didn't like how the trend was going. They started playing the clock. It's kind of like in football with the prevent defense. They started kind of walking it down and trying to milk some clock, and then they got a little more ISO instead of running their stuff, and then Houston, makes a little run and gets it to what was manageable, and later you hear Coach Sampson say, hey, let's just put some game pressure on them and see how they react. Well, they did, and they allowed them to do that, and what I felt was really interesting was you then saw, for really the first time, Duke's youth. I felt like a little immaturity, just the way they reacted to situations and scenarios, and so for me, I always say that you can lose, and that's the key word, right? Lose close games when you're winning, of course, by not being able to inbound the ball, not blocking out on free throw situations, and not making your free throws when they're fouling you. And those things came true, especially in that game, not being able to inbound the ball. And coincidentally, Nate, I was watching the NIT the other night. My son's Northern Colorado team lost to Irvine much the same way, up 7, late in the game, missed a bunch of free throws. Well, Irvine in the championship game, I don't know if you watched it, they're winning that game, it ends up going into overtime. They're third-ranked team in the nation in free throw percentage, and they missed, I think it was 7 of their last 9 free throws and couldn't get the ball in bounds and then smoked a layup at the buzzer to win it. So, teams can find a way to lose just like they can win, and I thought Houston hung in there, but Duke really gave it away.
Okay, this is a tough one now. People like blaming coaches because they're easy. They don't say how well I thought John Shire had his team playing defense. This is one of the better defensive Duke teams I've seen. I thought they were really good. So I didn't blame John Shire, but he's taking heat on how he handled it. Why didn't he draw this up? Why didn't he take another timeout? Why this, that? Is this John Shire's responsibility, or did the players tighten up?
Well, it's easy to point blame, and had they made a shot here or there, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So, you can kind of look at it both ways. I would say this as it relates to the coach, and that is, one, you got to come up with something to get the ball in bounds late in the game, and not just one possession, but they even burned a timeout and came out of that timeout and still couldn't get it in. So there were multiple times when they struggled to get the ball in bounds. Okay, I didn't like that they had their guard, he sort of acts as their point guard, taking it out because he might have been better at getting open than, say, the forwards they had. I didn't like that they had Malawak in the game late. The 7-2 kid. You're switching everything defensively, just trying to keep Houston from shooting threes. Houston had gone 4 perimeters at that point anyway. And it wasn't like they were inbounding the ball to Malawak or, he's in there to ball handle or shoot. He's 7-2. So, I would have had another guard in, or even just another ball handler, maybe an experienced player, etc. Second thing is just run a baseline out-of-bounds play. Just run one of your out-of-bounds plays, but don't shoot it on the wrong hoop. I mean, do anything to screen and get it in bounds and get it to someone. And And so they really struggled with that. I thought that was one thing. And then the subbing, again, I don't think I would have had the big kid in late. Give yourself another ball handler, another switch defender. They were outstanding defensively, to your point, and he did do a great job of coaching them all season. And again, we're talking about a few minutes of the last game. But they also, again, with youth, Malawak and Flagg doubled Uzan at half court off a ball screen. I think it was a screwed up switch. They leave the kid open top of the key, makes a bucket. That was an error. And then Flagg messed up a switch and overran Sharp, and he side dribbled and hit a three. The big one there late. So, they did make some defensive errors down the stretch, but that isn't so much coaching. I think that was just sort of, again, a little bit of freshman immaturity at that time.
So you do think John Shire can take some of this mistake and that mistake, but the players also making mistakes. It all comes to a head. Let me ask you this. I don't know if it's just me, Chris. I'm watching these basketball games. Auburn can't get the ball in on an inbounds, even underneath their own hoop. Duke can't get it in. What is the deal? Is defensive strategy and better? What is the deal? Are inbounds plays bad? Is it just me? Teams can't get the ball in. Yeah,
it really is amazing. And that's a pet peeve for me. And call me old school if you want, but one of the things that I think you and I have talked about this, Nate, on other subjects as it relates to the pro game or whatever the case may be, the number of three-pointers that are shot, et cetera. And to me, a lot of what that means is there's a whole lot of five-out, there's a whole lot of cutting, dribble handoffs and shooting threes and these sorts of things, and then that trickles down into your out-of-bounds plays. Well, what is it we're looking for here? And there's not as much screening. You and I have talked about the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson days and the old Detroit Pistons and Chicago Bulls, the physicality that was played with, and that includes at the offensive end of screening, right, of cutting hard, of posting up. You don't see that, really in the game in this day and age. And so just the ability to set a screen the screener, okay, a pick the picker, as some people will call it, actually set a pick, hit a body, get a guy cutting open. Sure, they might switch it, but now you're screening another one, or you're slipping, you're rolling back. Heck, could you have not there at the end, if you're Duke, take a guy who's as good as Cooper Flagg is and just stand him 5 feet from the ball and post him up and say, okay, if you're going to front, we're going to lob it over the top. You're going to play behind, we're going to throw it into him. To stalemate, yes. He's a good enough athlete to jump up and get it. Just post strong. But again, I just think we've lost some of the physicality. So you'll watch, and you're 100% correct. I totally agree with you. And it isn't just that game. You mentioned Auburn. It could be any game. Just watch the number of times they have to just throw it into the backcourt just to try to get the thing in on an out-of-bounds play. Yes. And I think it's because there's not very many screens being set.
I thought it was just my sixth-grade girls basketball team that had trouble with it, Chris, but it turns out a lot of people do. All right, let me ask you tonight. So you thought it was going to be Auburn, Duke, or at least that was the pick. That was my pick, too. That Auburn-Florida game was great. Florida just beat them. Walter Clayton Jr., outstanding. Pettiford had not a good game for Auburn, so I don't think Broome was very good overall. So Florida tonight, I give them the edge. They've got bigs. They've got nice guards. But I guess Houston keeps surprising if they can make shots. If their guards can make shots, can Houston win tonight?
Well, I think that's the key. I think Houston really has to look. They're always going to come out and defend and play hard and just be gutty and do all that. They do rebound the ball pretty well. I think the rebounding could be a key stat because Florida is so big. I mean, they're pro big, and so that's something where so was Duke, but that's one thing where Houston's going to really need to hold their own. But Sharp has been so key for them. Uzan. And of course, Cryer had the big game the game before, but Sharp has been the guy. I mean, key threes at key times or a run. I want to say it was the Tennessee game, and he made like 4 of them in the second half. I mean, so he's been really critical. They're going to need to shoot the ball well. I think the difference is, and I wanted to pick Florida in that semi, and I overthought the thing. And when I was doing my bracket, I thought, well, they just beat Auburn, and I watched the game, and they played really doggone good to beat Auburn in the SEC. And I thought, they'll come back, gunned up, ready to go. Auburn got knocked out of the tournament. They're going to, this one, they'll come back and they'll win this. But Florida is just too good. I think they're so deep. They can play 4 bigs that are 6'10" or above. The guards, and obviously a stud like Clayton. And, the depth, I just think and you mentioned it, I really felt like Janai Broome wore down. I didn't think his conditioning allowed him to play, as well as what was needed. And so I'm going with Florida just because I think they've got all the tools and a lot of depth. And I think they got the guards that can handle some Houston pressure, and they've got the bigs inside. I think they can win this thing.
Okay, I'm going Florida tonight as well. I've been wrong before. I think Florida wins tonight. Chris Denker joining us, talking championship tonight. Florida, Houston coming up. NetScoutsBasketball.com, former D1 coach. One more on the women's side, Chris. So UConn wins yesterday. I mean, just going away. UConn was a 2 seed, and they hit their stride. Nobody was touching them. They dismantled South Carolina. 12 championships for Gino Auriemma. What should we think about UConn?
Yeah, dismantling. They were outstanding. And again, you talk about good defense with Duke. That's another thing that people don't talk about with respect to UConn. Usually it's about their talent and their scoring ability and all that. They were outstanding defensively. The freshman post is so good, strong, and I was blown away by her. Set a freshman record for points scored in the NCAA tournament. And then, AZ Fudd was incredible yesterday, and obviously Paige Beckers is kind of the show there. So what a run through the tournament. By my math, they beat 3 1 seeds to do it. And also, they weren't even, as far as I know, they weren't even the top if they snaked the seeds. And I might have this wrong, but I don't think that they were the top 2 seed even in the tournament, which you kind of wonder how they weren't a 1, not to mention the best 2. So, to go on the run that they did, beat the teams that they did by the margins that they did. They beat UCLA by nearly 30. They were up 30 yesterday. They beat SC, albeit without Juju, but beat them pretty handily. I mean, yeah, that is pretty amazing. And then for him to, that's number 12, as you said, already the all-time winningest coach. So just incredible. And the way they did it with a team, that has had some Fudd and Beckers both coming off injuries in recent years, and with youth, and had kind of mixed things up. Even yesterday, he mixed things up. He had to take a big kid out and put another guard in and play 4 guards. I'm sure they've done it over the course of the season, but KK Arnold came up huge for them. I mean, they were just, it was a clinic.
Yeah, it really was. UConn women just dominate. Last one, Chris, how do you compare Paige Beckers, now that she's back full power, how do you compare Beckers overall to Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, there's some similarities. But the beauty of it and the beauty of the sport is that there's a lot of differences, both in the personality and the way they play and their skill sets and whatnot, and there's room for all sorts of stars as far as I'm concerned. And so, I think I've mentioned to you before, I'm a big Sabrina Ionescu fan. There's a lot of players that are really good, and I think it's great. I think it's great for the game, but it's also exciting for, the future of the WNBA to be bringing in, players like her. And I think this year, obviously, she's the big name, but, eventually you'll have Juju. I mean, there's just some great, young players coming up, and she's certainly one of them. And again, don't discount the fact that she really did have to overcome a gruesome knee injury, and to do that and get back to where her game is now is pretty incredible. And she's really done a great job of it, and I think ready to go and do a lot of good things in WNBA as well.
Paige Beckers going. She'll be drafted here this month. And then it's Caitlin Clark and Beckers and the whole thing. WNBA is taking off. Chris Denker, former D1 head coach, NetScoutsBasketball.com. He's taking Florida tonight. Chris, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Take care, Nate.
Thanks a lot. Chris Denker on tonight talking national championship. NetScoutsBasketball.com, former D1 college head coach. Let's go to Brookings. Get an update on the Jacks. New basketball coach hired. Justin Sell making the call. SDSU Athletic Director Justin Sell joins me live next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Save big money on your entire roofing project at Menards. Owens Corning Architectural Shingles are the #1 brand trusted by contractors. With a limited lifetime and up to 130 miles per hour wind warranty. Protecting your home for years to come. Choose from over 40 options and save big money on all Owens Corning shingles now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Hop into Easter brunch at the Box Elder Event Center on Sunday, April 20th from 10 to 2. Indulge in a brunch buffet full of favorites like Eggs Benedict, French toast, salmon, beef tips, and so much more. The kids will love the bounce houses, face painting, balloon art, and photos with the Easter Bunny. Heroes save 20%. Military, first responders, and teachers use exclusive coupon codes. Reservations are required. Grab your tickets now at thebox.live.
Monument Health Orthopedic and Sports Medicine is here when you need us for the extreme athletes or those everyday activities. From kiddos with broken bones to retirees with creaky knees. Whether you're pumping iron or planting petunias, we'll be in our clinic locations throughout the region working together. Monument Health Orthopedic and Sports Medicine, getting you moving again so you can confidently say, I'm back. Go to monument.health/orthopedics to find out more.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and
Cadillac Jacks is Deadwood's exclusive home of the Roaring Riches Jackpot. Just be actively playing your favorite slot machine with your club card engaged for your chance to win. The Roaring Riches Jackpot starts at $7,500 and must hit by $10,000. Plus, you can keep up to the minute on the current Roaring Riches total on your Cadillac Jacks mobile app. Roaring Riches has already paid out $2 million. Anyone at any time on any spin. You could be the next to win. Only at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show is on. Monday edition of The Nate Brown Show across the state. Thanks for being here on Fox Sports Radio. Remember, you can stream us live on X. If you follow the show, you can watch us live there on your phone at Nate Brown Show, right there on X. Live stream, welcome in studio. Watch us on X at Nate Brown Show if you get out of the radio range. And you can also get us on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. Well, South Dakota State going through a change in the men's basketball program, but they're going to stay in-house. And Brian Peterson's the new head coach. He's been there 6 years and an assistant under Coach Eric Henderson. Justin Sell makes the call and goes with Brian Peterson as head men's basketball coach. Just got introduced on Friday. And Justin Sell back on the Nate Brown Show tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Justin, good to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be on again, Nate.
Well, thanks for your time. I know Jacks fans appreciate you coming on and giving your perspective. It's another change And we'll get into Coach Peterson and that decision. I got to ask you, as you think about this in the big picture, is this something you're just having to be used to, is the coaches that are developing, that are here at South Dakota State? Do you know that there's future head coaches in a lot of these programs? Is this something you're trying to be aware of with current head coaches that are there, that they build staffs that could fill their spot?
Yeah, I think, especially in recent years, the last 5 or 6 years, I'm now in year 16 here. And so experience, obviously getting to know a place, and then our build has put, very talented people in good positions. Hopefully we're working hard and intentionally, and I use the word intentionally because I think that's something we miss in our business, helping our employees grow. And whether you're a fundraiser, athletic department staffer, assistant coach, a head coach. My job is to give you all the opportunities to continue to grow, to learn, certainly to leverage that experience and make us better, create a great experience for our student athletes. But at the same time, part of our job is to give people, they can't all be promoted here. They can't all stay here. In our business, if you want to grow and move up the chain to some degree, and if that's important to you, you kind of have to move. That's just part of it. And so I also look at it trying to put good people in this business. We need good people. Maybe more than ever, we need good people that are critical thinkers and understand how to be part of something bigger than themselves and invest in other people and create great experiences for students. And I think we do that really well here. So it's become part of life. The key, though, kind of to your question, Nate, is this internal ability to develop does help steady when you have turnover, you have change from a student-athlete's perspective, from just onboarding, and they know already where we're at, what we're recruiting. Doesn't mean you aren't going to have some change, or you're going to have to go out and find some student-athletes, or you're going to have to adjust something. But it does help temper that, and today's world has changed a lot from 5 or 6 years ago. In how fast everything happens, you have to move quickly.
Justin Sell on tonight, South Dakota State Athletic Director. Their new men's basketball coach, head coach, is Brian Peterson, and he takes over for Hendo as he just got introduced at Drake. What did Coach Henderson do in this program as an assistant and as a head coach the last 6 years?
Yeah, I mean, first, Eric is probably one of the best teammates you could ever have, and in our world and in our departments, and this certainly doesn't happen everywhere, and frankly, probably in a lot of places. When your head basketball coaches, your head football coach, your head wrestling coach are your best teammates in the department, we claim a family feel. We claim a culture that's built around being together, and there's a lot of places that's pretty true, except for a few of those positions, and so. Eric was such a positive light, invested in other people, went to games, supported other teams, supported people in this community. And I think, that energy and that positivity, frankly, going through the pandemic and then the challenges we faced the last 4 years was really important to our basketball program. It was important to our department. In many cases, it was important to our university. And then we won. I mean, we had some great seasons. A few of them, we had some injuries or some things that, we probably may have fell a game short because of those things. But by and large, our winning percentage, our record, getting the NCAA tournament, being a top seed in the Summit League, and winning the regular season. I mean, Eric knows how to coach basketball as well.
I look at it, you go with Brian Peterson. We talked about that, a guy that's been in the program, and there's a lot of things that weigh in, Justin. How much does it weigh? You're thinking about, okay, do I open this up? South Dakota State's an attractive program, or just stay in-house? And how do you weigh that against each other? Why'd you choose Peterson?
Yeah, I think we've been fortunate. I mean, there are probably 3 guys on Coach Henderson's staff that will be head coaches. I mean, they're very talented, and so I think having the opportunity to evaluate and this hire is. Yes, we have to win today. Yes, you want to move quickly. Yes, you want to keep your roster together. But with all the changes that are happening, it's our ability to think about the next 2 and 3 years and how do we navigate that, and having the right person that can be calm in the chaos, can think clearly, can be very strategic, still knows how to build relationships and be able to support our student athletes in the manner that we certainly expect here. And then at South Dakota State, there's a certain way that we win, a certain style, a certain type of student athlete we bring in here that has success, that our fans and supporters love to be around and want to invest in. So, Brian had coaching experience. He had it in the past. In many cases, his experience at the junior college level probably is more reflective to what we're dealing with here now when you talk about he had 2 years of classes and those student athletes will graduate. And there's just the ability to have somebody be here 4 and 5 years anymore. You got to try to build a core that will stay with you. And then you got to be able to manage around the edges, and you may have a student athlete here for 1 or 2 or 3 years, or you may have to bring in a transfer. And I just think he has an unbelievable feel for that. And then lastly, Nate, he knows how to work within our institution, and that is so important here. These are institutional decisions that often, falls on my desk as, hey, you made this choice, or why did you go this way? Well, we work collectively together. I trust my team in the athletic department, but I really trust our president and our university to help us make sure we're making the right decisions for much broader reasons than just winning a basketball game.
Justin Sell on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Glad he's here on Fox Sports Radio. South Dakota State Athletic Director talking Brian Peterson, the head men's basketball coach, now takes over for Henderson in the Jackrabbit program. How do you keep hanging on to Coach AJ?
Yeah, obviously what he's done here, what he's built, how he's gone about doing it, and then the values that he has for him, his family, the types of students he wants to work with. Look, we've invested in women's basketball over the years, certainly with the new facility and the facility components in helping develop and train student athletes, and helps in the recruiting process. But, I think most of the people here, it's not always just a paycheck. Our job is to shrink that level of better job, and certainly pay has to be part of that. But, if that's not your only priority, I think we all recognize we do well and are paid well to live in Brookings, South Dakota, to coach our teams or to work at this university. And then when you get a chance to be in the NCAA tournament every year, to have some control over what you're building, to be able to have the full student-athlete experience. It's not that there aren't those jobs out there. They just haven't presented themselves yet.
What do you feel like, Justin, when players at SDSU take those opportunities and transfer? You've lost some great players in basketball, for example.
Yeah, I think each case obviously is individual. I think if you've built up enough from a resume standpoint and ability that someone certainly wants you or thinks you can make a difference in their program, and a guy like Zeke Mayo, it's a dream to go back home and play in Lawrence, Kansas for his senior year. He gave us everything he had for 3 years. Same with Baylor Shireman or Will Kyle. We've been pretty fortunate. A lot of student athletes have stayed with us. We have guys on our current roster. We have women on our women's basketball team, and certainly some football guys in the changeover that stayed because they value this experience and what it is, and they're turning down money to do that because they look at things maybe a little differently than somebody else. So there's not a right or wrong answer to this. Each individual situation is different. But look, if we're going to promote trying to grow our employees and to try to help them advance, I always argue the transfer piece, whether it's transferring to a Power 4 level or in some cases to a Division 2 level, I think student athletes end up probably getting to the place they should have been maybe from the beginning. There's a little resettling to it. So, wish all those folks well. I think, but I don't have any issue with that at all.
Last one, FBS, FCS question before I let you run. What's your reaction to Sacramento State actually moving forward with the application to go FBS in 2026?
Yeah, I try to be really careful and thoughtful. I think people love to dive in and may say, well, what's South Dakota State doing on this issue? But if you're not inside or you're not part of the university structure, because like I said before, these are university decisions, it's hard to evaluate good move, bad move, what are they doing, why do this now? I just think, for them and what they're trying to do, they feel like getting a foot in the door on the FBS side is important to them at this time. I think all of us, as we build our own programs, are looking at the landscape and seeing what needs to settle. I think it's pretty hard to be an independent without a league, and I think there will be some interesting challenges that they'll face. But I still think we're on the pattern of the CFP deal comes up in 2031, 32. I think the next several years you'll start to kind of get more framework around what that TV deal looks like, what the Power Four wants to do, and then how's it going to settle for the rest of us. So I just think it's too early to determine how our competition is going to get defined. We just want to make sure we're in the best place possible, that we can play at the highest level that we think we're capable of.
Justin Sell taking time, joining us tonight, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, and hiring Brian Peterson to take over the men's basketball program. Justin, thanks for coming on. Always appreciate you.
Yeah, right back at you. Thanks, Nate. Have a great night.
Thanks for your time. Justin Sell on the Nate Brown Show tonight across the state. SDSU Athletic Director, talking Jacks across the board. Basketball, a lot of moving parts lately, and Brian Peterson's the new head men's basketball coach. Wanted his reaction there. Reaction to the players transferring. That's just a reality every year. And Sacramento State and the Big Sky Conference going FBS, applying for a waiver. Justin Sell on tonight, courtesy of the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch at 3809 East 10th Street in Sioux Falls, also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City. It's the Pizza Ranch Buffet tonight. Everyone's favorite buffet, your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Coming right back, let's take a look at a question of the day. This is interesting to me. Okay, I was wondering, what's my hobby? What's my hobby? Could you guess what my hobby is? This is my job. Lucky to have this job. What's my hobby? Can you think, I should say, can we consider this a hobby? I'm going to ask this question of the day and get your feedback next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Partly cloudy skies tonight with lows around 37. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times again tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 68. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Chance for storms. Lows dip down to about 41. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 58 degrees.
Looks like winter is losing its grip and we are headed for warmer weather to come. How did your car make it through the winter? Hi, this is Martin from Al's D&I Repair. Winter is hard on your car, especially on the components underneath. The sand and chemicals that make winter driving safer can affect the brakes, chassis, and exhaust parts. While you have your car in for routine maintenance, we'll inspect your car to make sure you are set for spring and summer travels.
Al's D&I Repair on Sturgis Road. Call 348-1447 to set up your appointment.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding door and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. What's on tap tonight? Jake Sorensen's joining us from Lincoln, Nebraska. The Huskers just won the college basketball crown. That's that new basketball tournament. They just won it. $300,000 to the players. How about that? Is that the new model, these postseason tournaments? That's better than the NIT. They're giving $300,000 out to the players, incentive to play, compete. What would you want from the Huskers to make the tournament and lose, like in the first round, or to win the college basketball crown? Is that okay? Jake Sorensen's coming up. That debate straight ahead. 93.7 The Ticket. He's on in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's what's on tap. Brought to you by the Campfire Bar and Mr. Liquor in Rapid City. Stop in off Catron Boulevard, South Dakota's best and biggest liquor store. A selection unlike any other. And then the new Campfire Bar. It's right inside the store. 20 local brews in South Dakota on tap at the Campfire Bar in live sports. Mr. Liquor off Catron Boulevard, Rapid City. Okay, how much basketball have I watched over the past few weeks? I don't even want to. You don't even want to know. How much basketball have I watched? Now, do you think I get away with watching more basketball? I'm a family man. I've got a lot of things going on. I didn't think that you could get that busy in life, but it's busy. You're trying to do this and do that, and the kids are doing this. I got a high schooler and a middle schooler, and all this and that. But I watch basketball. Do you think I get away with? I have to watch the tournament for my job. Do you just think I get away with that? It's like, hey, I got to watch these games tonight. I'm going to tell you, I wonder if my wife's listening. This is a great experiment right now. I'm going to tell you, I don't get away with it a lot, and I don't play that card a lot. It's just like we watch sports in the family, usually as anyway, and I don't have to play the card. I have to watch this. I have to watch that. But I think I do have to watch it. I mean, that is part of the deal. But what if I played this card? What if I played this card? It's a hobby. It's my hobby. Watching sports is my hobby. So I'm going to ask you this. This is a question of the day tonight. Is watching sports a real hobby? Because there's people that what? They build in their shop. I've got a guy that listened to this program. He made this Broncos wooden logo behind me. It's great. I mean, just an outstanding logo. So there's woodworking. That's a hobby. Golfing, you guys would say, is a hobby. How about gardening? And how about working on cars? Whatever. So there's these hobbies. Can I get away with watching sports? Is that a legitimate hobby? That is a real interesting question of the day tonight on the Nate Brown Show, 605-720-1067. If you haven't texted us on that, I'd like your opinion. So if I can't get away with it, hey, this is my job. I have to watch every single game. I watch a lot of basketball. I love basketball, and I watch a lot of it. But sometimes if I have this responsibility or that responsibility, sometimes I may miss this or that, and I wonder if I could get away with it. Well, it's, this is my hobby. I don't do anything else. And I was thinking about it. Do I live a sad life? If watching sports is my hobby, what other hobby do I have? Do I need to develop a hobby? I mean, we're kind of going through a midlife crisis right now on the air. I'm trying to decide, do I need a hobby? Should I be thinking about learning a new craft? I don't think so. I think watching sports could legitimately be considered a hobby. Watching sports. Do you think it's a legitimate hobby? Question of the day tonight. And I do want your reaction on this. Is it a legitimate hobby to watch sports? I'm not talking about playing pickleball or, so like doing that. Or no, you're doing nothing. You're sitting there watching sports. Is that a hobby? So that's the rub right there. That's the tough argument people are going to make. Well, you're doing nothing. It's not a hobby. In order to have a hobby, you got to be doing something instead of just watching the games. So I've really been it's been a great hobby the last few weeks. I've really had a great hobby the last few weeks. Is it a legit hobby to just watch sports? You tell me. We are answering the important questions tonight. Can watching sports be considered a hobby? 74% of you say yes. Well, what would I expect from listeners on the Nate Brown Show? I think you guys are trying to get away with that a little bit. But is it a legit hobby? Does my hobby count as much as your woodworking? Now, I have a lot more respect for you if you actually have a skill and a hobby like that, rather than me, where I just sit back and like, I watch sports. That's my hobby. What do you do for fun? What do you do for a hobby? I watch sports. How would that fly when I go to a dinner party? Hey, what do you do? What do you do for work? Well, I host a sports radio show. I have a sports station stuff. Oh, okay, good, yeah. So what do you do for a hobby? I watch sports. Boy, you're a dandy. You are a dandy. 74% say it's a legit hobby. Thanks for that. Let's see. 26% of you say, no, it's not a legit hobby watching sports. You're doing nothing. Thank you. Listener text, is your DirecTV bill considered tax deductible? Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not going to take you inside my tax situation, but thank you for that question. Thank you for your thoughts. Let's see here. Listener text, you have a very understanding family if they let you watch sports as a hobby. Well, no, I told you. It's my job. See, I got you coming both ways. I'm hitting you both ways. It's a hobby. It's my job. I have to do it. I'm winning tonight. I am winning tonight. But I do think it's a legit hobby. For you guys that say, I need to learn this, I need to do that, I need to do this. If I was doing a hobby, I wouldn't be watching sports as much. And then we all suffer. Life is just not as fun. Let's get to the second hour tonight on the Nate Brown Show. You tell me, is watching sports a legit hobby? Can you pass that one off? 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. I've got some baseball headlines. What do you think when teams do deals like they just did today? This one, I just don't get it, but let's explain next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Spring is here and Splash City is blooming with savings. It's their spring kickoff sale. Your backyard retreat is calling. Imagine relaxing, soaking away the day in a brand new Sundance or Jacuzzi spa from Splash City. During the spring kickoff sale, get 0% financing for 60 months or save up to $5,000 in instant rebates. Plus a free smart tub monitoring system upgrade, a $999 value. Splash City is your #1 water and entertainment specialist. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City today. Rest, relax, enjoy.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone. Immerse yourself in another world with virtual reality. Play the newest arcade games for the lanes. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Always family-friendly fun. Something for everyone. Birthdays and parties. Online at Sprockets.fun. Sprockets Fun Foundry. Joy and fun for everyone.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Highmark Credit Union. Ready to hit the road this season? How about a new ride with a new car loan at unbeatable low rates for qualified borrowers? At Highmark Credit Union, you can drive away with low rates, flexible terms, and the freedom to make every trip to Highmark. Or on the road feel like a spring vacation. So, what are you waiting for? Spring into action today with a car loan from Highmark today. Visit highmarkfcu.com or stop by and see us. The road to savings starts here. We'll make it happen. Terms and conditions apply. Visit highmarkfcu.com for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com. All right, we're talking with Britt Wicked at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Right now, it's baseball season, and one thing I know with baseball, I hear about this overused shoulder injury.
It's something that we see a lot clinically. Repetitive motions place ourselves at an increased risk for sustaining an injury, especially if it's a movement that hasn't necessarily been done a lot previously.
And one thing, some people say, well, you just have to rest, but not all the time.
Yeah, so it's good to take a break in a sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing at all. If you're experiencing symptoms like that and having soreness with throwing in particular, that's a good time to be seen by a physical therapist to try to assess the root cause of your symptoms. You could have weakness in the rotator cuff. We could have some shoulder instability. There's a lot going on with throwing, so it's important to have that thoroughly assessed to get you back on the road to recovery.
Get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome back in the Nate Brown Show. It can be your hobby. I mean, it's not a great one, but it can be your hobby. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here. Thanks for making this show possible. It's always a great day in South Dakota, and we're kicking off the week. Stay right here. Willie Stevens coming up. He's the new head football coach, Rapid City Stevens. So the Stevens football programs had to change coaches. Can they get on track? Willie Stevens, the latest. He'll be the head coach for the Raiders. We'll join him talk to him about building the program at Stevens. Willie Stevens coming up. Jake Sorensen's on the way from Nebraska. He's with 93.7 The Ticket out of Lincoln. We'll talk Husker basketball and a little Husker football. Husker basketball winning the College Basketball Crown Tournament, where they send out $300,000 and the players win the cash prize for winning the tournament. Something you don't see very often in college sports, so we will get into that. Question of the day. We got a couple of them, as always, if you want to sound off. Can watching sports be considered a hobby? I would expect the Nate Brown Show audience would be leaning that way, and they are. 74% on Twitter say, yes, it's a legit hobby, just watching sports. 26% say no, you're actually doing nothing. Speak for yourself. And then tonight, it is Florida-Houston in the national championship. I had Auburn-Duke. So I had the Final Four right. I've had Auburn-Duke in the championship, so I went off track there. Duke just blew it. I mean, they're the better team, but they blew it. So I'm going to take Florida tonight. They look like the better team to me. But Houston, I'm going to tell you, I guess, their help defense and their team defense is just outstanding. I don't think they're going to make enough shots again. They hit some huge threes against my Dukies. So taking Florida tonight. But for all you Duke haters, I've come to find out there's quite a few. You love seeing Duke lose. Finish the sentence tonight. You wanted to watch Duke what? Lose tonight or lose Saturday night or actually win the national championship? There is that option like me. But what would be your number one answer? Finish my sentence. I wanted to watch Duke lose Saturday night or lose tonight. I absolutely believe you wanted to see Duke tonight, and I bet you the ratings are going to play that out. We'll see where the ratings are at. They had huge numbers, Duke and Houston, Saturday night. Huge numbers, 20 million peak, and average 16 million average. So I believe you wanted to watch Duke tonight, even if you wanted them to lose tonight. That's my answer to the question. But 51% of you are saying, I wanted to watch Duke lose Saturday night like they did. 37% wanted to see Duke win the national championship, and I like those folks. I like those folks a lot. Hey, let's look at this Major League Baseball story. So the Toronto Blue Jays, they never make national headlines. They're making them today. The Toronto Blue Jays just gave Vlad Guerrero Jr. a 14-year contract. What? Are we just lost our minds? Somebody tell me where, somebody explain where a 14-year contract makes sense. How do the owners and the agents and these guys, how do they do these deals? There's two things in sports that I just don't get. When you give massive contracts to college coaches, like 10-year deals, and you say, we have to do this. They're the best coach ever, like the Jimbo Fisher deal at Texas A&M. How'd that work out? And the buyouts are just massive. Charlie Weiss has gotten a buyout still to this day. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And so you tell me, in this world, how does a 14-year contract even make sense? And I'm never going to say, well, the Blue Jays had to do that to keep Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They had to do 14 years? How do you not make it shorter than that? You can ramp up some dollars. I mean, you don't have to make it 14 years. He's going to be 40. I mean, these deals, when are people going to realize the owners and these agents are bonkers? These deals are absolute bonkers. And then the players are overpaid. Players get to 14-year extension for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. today, worth $500 million. It's the second largest contract in Major League Baseball history. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a great player, but I just don't understand. I mean, you got two things going here. You have the deferred money that the Dodgers are doing, these wacky deals where they get to have Shohei Ohtani and these other players, and they defer all the money for years. And then you got the Blue Jays who are going to go a 14-year deal today because they think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at 37 is just going to be, somebody you just have to have. You just have to have him. 14-year extension, Vlad Guerrero Jr., the Blue Jays, the first time you've ever seen them do anything like this, 14-year deal for anybody. You just can't do it. I mean, this is like, how do people not rise up and say, this is one of the dumbest things you've ever seen, 14-year deals. Oh, well, they're not going to pay him as much later in the deal. I don't care what they're going to pay him at 39. Still too much. You're still in a deal. That's why Bobby Bonilla is getting paid by the Mets every day. Bobby Bonilla. It's just ridiculous. And nobody says a thing. It's just absolutely bizarre. By the way, speaking of Major League Baseball, how are those Yankees doing with the torpedo bats? What a subject last week on the Nate Brown Show. I said I'm not a huge fan of the torpedo bats, but you guys can celebrate. The Yankees can celebrate. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, is a fan of the torpedo bats. He said to the New York Times, quote, "This is absolutely good for baseball." Can you go that? Did you need to go that far, Rob? This is absolutely good for baseball. The torpedo bats. You know where the Yankees are at in offense? They got beat by the Tigers today, so congratulations to the Tigers. But you know where the Yankees are at in offense in Major League Baseball first couple of weeks of the season? Number 1. 23 homers, 62 runs. They're averaging almost 9 runs a game. 36 runs in 3 games to start out the year, and then they're just blasting the competition. They lead the majors in home runs and slugging percentage and runs per game. But Rob Manfred he says this is absolutely good for baseball. I told you the torpedo bats are dicey. Dicey. Coming right back with Willie Steven, the new Rapid City Stevens head football coach. How does he build up this program? Next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Military, first responders, teachers, Renewal by Anderson is offering a heartfelt thank you with its first ever appreciation sale. 20% off every window and door, no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. Plus an additional 9% off if purchased on the initial consultation. That's 29% off. Military, first responders, teachers, this is a limited time offer, so do not wait. Please book your free estimate right now at rbarapidcity.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Partly cloudy skies tonight with lows around 37. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times again tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 68. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow night. Chance for storms. Lows dip down to about 41. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 58 degrees.
Imagine this, a bank that is committed to you, that understands your needs, your values, and your growth. No more settling for the status quo. Pioneer Bank and Trust offers tailored solutions, innovative services, and a team of experts dedicated to your success. You deserve more attention and more support from your bank. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Building your Black Hills dream? Builder's First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs has you covered. Top quality materials, product expertise, all your building needs in one place for materials and services. Just stop in or start at BLDR.com. That's BLDR.com. Builder's First Source. Build it.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Menholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah.
I'm all right. And yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you hopping in. Big news for you that you're taking over the Stevens program, so I wanted to get right into it. You have a history of sports in Rapid City. You're coach on the baseball side, on the youth football side. Why'd you want to take over the football program at Stevens?
It's a huge opportunity. Football is my passion, and I've been around football since I was 5 years old, played at Valparaiso University over in Indiana, and then had a pretty decent 9-year arena football career. So I've always had football as something that I wanted to do on a higher level, like running a high school program and that sort of thing. And so the opportunity came about. I had some friends in and around the community and parents that I coached their kids that thought it'd be a good idea if I gave it a shot, and I gave it a shot, and here I am.
Okay, congrats on getting it, and I know the community's reacted saying, all right, this is going to be a fresh start and the whole thing. Well, here's the deal. Stevens, has gone through coaches. They've tried building it, and then there's been a change, and that's hard to do. So how do you look at where the Stevens program is at right now? I see talented athletes at Stevens across the board, but football has struggled. How do you change this?
Well, for me, I feel like the old saying is if you build it, they'll come. And I have a commitment to be there for the foreseeable future. I don't have any kids that will graduate from there and, force me to walk away, so to speak. Even once my kids do come through the program and leave, I still plan on being there. I want to build something that is going to last for, hopefully a lifetime, and build something the right way, organically from the ground up, get the buy-in from the community, the families, the players, the coaching staff, the administration, and, finally give the program some consistency and stability that it probably has been lacking over the past few years. And I don't want to speak to what was right and what was wrong from the previous regimes, but I can only speak to what I want to bring to the program. And like I said, that's consistency and stability.
What do you see at Stevens with athletes? So how do you get kids to play football at Stevens? Because I see athletes, but I don't know if all of them are ready to rock and roll in football.
That's true. Well, hopefully, I can bring some fresh names either back to the program or into the program in general that haven't played or played before and walked away, based off of my own track record of being a pretty good ball coach. And outside of that, I'm not a teacher there, so I won't necessarily be walking the halls, but, kind of reaching out to the players, the seniors, and that sort of thing, and, saying, hey, if you got friends that, play football or would be good at football, have them come out. Have them come see what we're trying to build here. And also rubbing elbows with the other coaches, supporting each other. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of multi-sport athletes, and so you got basketball players that would be heck of athletes on the football field and so on and so forth. And But to get that buy-in from other coaches and also to have that rapport built can also systematically help that change as well.
Willie Stephen joining us. He's the new Rapid City Stevens head football coach, getting hired for the Raiders, taking over the football program. So I know it can be an uphill climb. Are you prepared, Coach, for things aren't going to, new coach, new excitement, but the uphill climb? How do you deal with adversity here?
Oh, you got to be prepared for it, and when I say prepared, I say that loosely. You don't know what's going to come tomorrow. You can only try to prepare for it and hope that it goes the way that you're looking for it to go. And so what I want to do is actually build a culture centered around the football program, a buy-in with the players and the staff, like I said, and just organically build that from the ground up where players want to come to work, essentially, and get better. They want to be in the weight room in the off season, getting bigger, faster, stronger, and also changing the mentality. When you're going 0-9 or 1-8, that's not fun. Winning cures a lot of things, and when you start to compete and start to see the fruits of your labor actually have a positive impact, then things can change a lot quicker than they stay the same. And also just getting the buy-in from the family and the community. One of the things I'm huge on is, if you're not willing to step up and do something about it, don't negatively talk about the program or bring it down, because as we all know, rumors and opinions and that sort of thing, when they're negative, they can have a negative effect on everything. And when that negativity is just festering consistently, it can crumble a program, whether it's on top or not on top. It has a way of festering and creating just that negative energy surrounding things. And so we can't change things if everybody stays negative and have bad things to say about the program. We're starting fresh.
No, I agree with that. I think that's a good point. By the way, you're involved in Black Hills Youth Football, so there's a bunch of kids that play football, young kids, and then people feel like, well, where does it fall off? Well, they go to different middle schools, and some kids go to Central, some kids go to Stevens, and then they don't run the same thing, the same offense, the same defense. I don't know if that's important or not. How important is the feeders, the young kids, to Stevens, and how do you attack that?
Well, I think it's huge. And, to give a little insight on that, I joked with Nick and the AD, and I said, if I'm blessed to get the position, I'm going to be on the first name basis with the birth ward at the hospital, because every boy born should get now I'm a Raider, they should get a blue gift package, a little hat, a Raiders onesie, that sort of thing, because then you start to build that, I know where I'm going, I know where I want to go from the ground up. And even to move that along further, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to go implement your full playbook at each level, but I think it's important, speaking to the Black Hills Youth portion of the question that you asked me, I've said for years, you never see the high school coaches. They don't seem to be around at a practice or two or at games or anything like that, and so there's no desire even built, in my opinion, to even want to go to a certain school or not, because there's no streamline that has been built. And I plan on doing that. I plan on being a face in and around the community as far as football is concerned, sports is concerned. I do plan on getting with the middle schools that are direct feeders and not necessarily saying, hey, this is the way you got to do it moving forward, but getting that buy-in and say, hey, don't you think it would be beneficial to our program's longevity if we start to implement these different systems and strategies and thought processes? And once you get that buy-in, where it's a one team, one mindset, one goal type of mentality, the sky's the limit.
Willie Stephen, a couple more questions for him. I'll let him go. He's the new head football coach for the Rapid City Stevens Raiders. I talk about off-season coach. We all know it if you've been around the game. You got to put in work. I know at Stevens there's been some off-season buy-in, but not with everybody. How do you plan that as a coach? Because, well, you can't make kids do this, but they have to be willing to put in the offseason work. You can't show up in August and be ready to play.
Correct. Well, for me, judging where I come from as far as being a Division I athlete and an arena football player and having had some tryouts in the NFL, I feel like I can speak to that directly of what it takes to make it to the next level. Even if high school is as far as you go, you still have to put in the work in the off season. I tell my kids all the time in every sport that I coach, it's what you do in the dark is what people see in the light that makes you shine. And that's the hard work. That's the grind. That's the getting bigger, faster, stronger in the weight room. And Katie has, I met her, and she seems to be all on board with getting these kids more conditioned to play this sport. And at the end of the day, it's a gladiator sport. You have to put your body in a good condition to be able to go out there and compete at a high level week in and week out. And so it's just building that foundation. And I think a lot of it's going to come with trust within the process. I plan on being in the weight room. I laughingly say I'm not playing a game on Saturday, but I want to stay in shape. I want to show, hey, this is what you got to do. So I'm not afraid to sweat a little bit alongside some athletes and say, this is what we got to do to change what we want to change and make this program become successful moving forward.
Willie Steven on tonight. Steven's head football coach. He's just getting hired to take over the Raiders. Now from the football side, when we cover you on Fox Sports Radio and we're getting ready to go watch the games, what type of team? I'm talking about your approach offensively, defensively. What type of football team is Stevens?
I feel like Stevens can be a very fast operating team. Like you said, there's athletes on the field. There's athletes that I want to try to get to come out. And hopefully this fresh attitude with, starting anew can bring about that change and that buy-in. But we want to move fast. The days of, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, that's kind of over. And, I've watched a few games, over the past few years, and there's talent, there's speed, and talking to the other coaches, they run an RPO offense right now currently. I plan on building on that. And at the end of the day, I'm a defensive guy. We are going to be good on offense, but we're going to also hang our hat on defense. And we all know defense wins championships. Offenses, they put butts in the stands, and we want to attack it from both sides, all three phases, offensively, defensively, and special team-wise. And just get that camaraderie going to where there's excitement around the program and within the school to just go out and, dominate. And we got to build it. I'm not saying that this is going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to be steps to get us to where we want to get to.
I like talking to you, Coach. We'll talk to you a lot over the progress as you make with the program as you take over. Willie Steven on tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Rapid City Stevens head football coach taking over the Raider program as he tries building it here this offseason. Coach, good to have you on. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate the time. And, hey, let's get ready to have a great season.
I look forward to that.
Baby.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming on. Willie Steven, he's the new head football coach for the Rapid City Stevens Raiders. They go with Coach Steven. He's been in the Rapid City community quite some time, been involved on the youth sports level a lot, played there at Valparaiso on the college side. Let's see what happens with the Raider program. The new head football coach, Willie Steven, on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Appreciate his time. Coming right back, let's go down to Lincoln, Nebraska. Talk Huskers with Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Spring is here and Splash City is blooming with savings. It's their spring kickoff sale. Your backyard retreat is calling. Imagine relaxing, soaking away the day in a brand new Sundance or Jacuzzi spa from Splash City. During the spring kickoff sale, get 0% financing for 60 months or save up to $5,000 in instant rebates. Plus a free smart tub monitoring system upgrade, a $999 value. Splash City is your #1 water and entertainment specialist. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City today. Rest, relax, enjoy.
No one has a handbook for what we're living through today, which is why the experience you have access to makes all the difference in how you make it to tomorrow. For decades, Dakota Bank has worked with ag producers through industry, economic, and regional changes. We're committed to agriculture. We're committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Dakota Bank, banking, insurance, mortgage, and trust. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Insurance and trust not FDIC insured.
Rush fans, the final games of the season are here. Don't miss out. Wednesday, April 9th, the Rush versus Utah at 7:05 p.m., presented by Corey's Point S. Friday, April 11th is Youth Sports Night, sponsored by YMCA. We will celebrate local youth sports and recognize the Rushmore Thunder teams. Saturday, April 12th, step into a world of gaming and excitement with Ready Player One Night, presented by KT Connections. There will also be a post-game warm-up jersey auction with proceeds benefiting Folds of Honor. Tickets at RapidCityRush.com.
Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, 50, want to get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Okay, ma'am, just a few rules to follow for your new windows and doors.
Okay.
No washing.
For how long?
Forever. No shades, no furniture within 4 feet of the window.
How am I going to do that?
Yeah, I'd stack your furniture in the center of the room, and after the first rain, stay away from the window.
You're freaking me out.
There's no need to be freaked out about installing new doors or windows. Renewal by Anderson has installed over 100,000 windows and doors.
Oh, and don't lean on the window. We wouldn't want you falling out.
I can't lean against the window?
No, you can lean, just don't put any weight on it.
The guy who sold me the windows didn't tell me that.
Don't know. I'm just a subcontractor for the contractor.
Renewal by Anderson has master craftsmen who follow your job from start to finish.
Oh, and the picture window in the back room, it was an odd size, so we made it a little smaller.
How much smaller?
Yeah, about 5 feet smaller.
Yeah, well, now it's not a picture window.
Well, sure it is, if you hang a picture on it.
Brilliant.
Yep, that's why you pay us the big bucks. By the way, I only take cash.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit Acclaim windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Anderson. Learn more at RBARapidCity.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Monday edition, National Championship night tonight. But are you really concerned about Florida and Houston, or were you watching the Huskers win the college basketball crown for $300K? I love this debate that Jake Sorensen was having. What's better, having Nebraska make the tournament and get bounced in the first round, or have them winning the college basketball crown, going on a little run here? What is better? Let's go to the debate. Down in Lincoln, his show is on 93.7 The Ticket every morning. Find him on X at 937 Jake Sorensen. Huskers win the college basketball crown this postseason tournament. $300,000 goes to the players. Jake, welcome in. How are you?
Doing well, Nate. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you, man. So, how's this debate going? I find it really interesting. What is the real sentiment of Husker fans is, well, you got to make the real tournament, do you not? What's the story?
Well, it is hypothetical. If you know that Nebraska is not going to win in the tournament and they win the crown, then there's a conversation to take the crown. But I mean, you always want to make the dance. Nebraska. Let's not forget that Nebraska lost 5 straight games to end the regular season, to miss the Big Ten tournament completely, which was embarrassing. So to have a chance to play in the postseason and play well with most of their whole team besides Raleigh Wooster, who's out with injury, was a nice story to what was, overall a pretty good year with a bad ending, and then this is a new ending to that. So I would still take a chance to make the NCAA tournament, but this was a nice, way to cap off what was at most times a good season, but a rough finish to the year.
Okay, but it's interesting. What do you think the fans Do you think the fans are in a better mood because they won this rather than you taking calls after Nebraska gets beat in the first round again? I mean, what do the fans really – do you think they feel better?
There's only 3 teams, Nate, that end their season with a win in a tournament. It's the main one tonight, Florida or Houston, the NIT, and the Crown. Nebraska is one of 3 teams that end their season with the tournament win. So, I mean, it's a better mood. I mean, we understand that the Crown was certainly flawed with several teams under 500 playing. I mean, the first round opponent, Arizona State, was 13-19 without their best player, and they had a couple of guys that were out. I think they had 7 players that could play total. So, flawed tournament. The teams that got to the end, Boise State was a good team. That was a nice win for Nebraska. UCF was a solid team. So once you get past the first 2 games of a bunch of teams missing stars and guys in the portal, then it got to be some better basketball. So I think because of that, people can be happier with how it ended, that they won it, versus it being I think the first 2 rounds were a little bit of a joke. But the last 2 were certainly were good wins and good basketball.
So people talking about this college basketball Crown tournament, they're kind of saying, Jake, this is the new age here where the players get money, $300,000. Do you think that is kind of like, well, that provides an incentive? Maybe that makes it into kind of an interesting scenario, better than the NIT? What do you think about the money part of it?
Well, I think if you look at the NIT in general, the finals was UC Irvine and Chattanooga. It's not exactly the most compelling final of a formerly well established, well respected tournament. So, yeah, I mean, again, the Crown was a trial this year, and I think it was a good trial. I think that the most important thing, Nate, is that it looked good. It sounded good. The FS1 did a great job with their broadcasters, with Kevin Kugler there early, Gus Johnson. They looked good on TV. So I think that's a big reason to compel people that maybe didn't want to go to it, maybe like a Northwestern or other teams that had options that said no, to say, yeah, the money is good for us. It's still quality basketball after the first round or 2. So, yeah, I would say that this could potentially be the second best option past the tournament and surpass the NIT for sure.
Jake Sorensen on tonight, 93.7 The Ticket. He's on in the morning, and Lincoln covering the Huskers, Husker basketball, winning the Crown basketball tournament. So what is the feeling around Nebraska basketball? It's been a long time coming, trying to advance and win in the tourney. Well, what's Fred Hoiberg's like? What are the expectations here moving forward?
Well, I mean, fans are getting impatient, but the thing is they still go to the games. I mean, Nebraska the last several years has been top 15 in attendance in the country, and that's with some really bad years. I mean, the last few now, they've been respectable. Of course, a tournament team last year is a 8th seed when they lost to A&M, and this year they were seen as a tournament team for the majority of the season before the collapse at the end. So, I mean, people, they just want to win. It's never happened at Nebraska before. They've never won a tournament game. We all know that stat. But we question how can it happen in other places and not be possible here. There's nothing that holds Nebraska back from being decent or respectable on a yearly basis in basketball than themselves. They do it to themselves with just some interesting decisions made in the portal and NIL obviously now is certainly interesting how they've done that versus how they maybe should have done it. So, I mean, Nebraska has a great facility for PBA. They got a great practice center. They've got a great fan base. There's nothing that should say that should be bad at basketball.
Well, this is the Big Ten, though. This is the Big Ten. I mean, this is a tough conference. Can they actually compete here?
Yes, they can. I mean, Nebraska last year was third in the conference. I mean, Nebraska again was an 8th seed in the Big Dance and lost the first round, but they were, I think, 12-4 in conference play. I mean, I forget what the record was. They were really good last year in conference play. Maybe it was 11-6. But yeah, they can compete. I mean, you see a random team every year rise up that's been bad. Rutgers has had some decent years under Steve Pikiell. You've seen Northwestern with Chris Collins have some success despite it being a tough place to win. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason why to think that they could not compete and be an upper level. Not saying they're going to win the conference, but an upper level Big Ten team every year.
Jake Sorensen on tonight from Lincoln. I got to get your read on the tourney. How was your bracket here? How was Florida Houston on your bracket?
I have Florida winning it all, so I have that. It's funny. I told people my first 2 days, I think on our ticket bracket, I was like 486 out of 495. I picked so many wrong games, but I had none of those teams going past the first round. I had them losing the next round. So I'm not bragging because it was not exactly rocket science, but I had the entire Elite Eight right, which is the first time in my entire life. But that's 1s, 2s, and 3 seeds. There's no chaos there. But I had Florida beating I think Alabama in the finals, and that's obviously not going to happen. But if Florida wins it all, then for the first time in a long time, I'll pick the correct winner, I suppose.
Okay, you got Florida. That's better than me. I had the Final Four right, and I picked the championship matchup wrong. So you're hanging your hat on Florida. I think Florida wins tonight. They're going to win tonight, right, Jake?
Well, it feels to me, Nate, like go back to about 10 years ago when Wisconsin had that big win against Kentucky and then lost to Duke in the finals. It felt like beating Duke for Houston might be the finals. They've been the best team in basketball. I mean, you could argue for Auburn or Florida in that, but Duke came in as the favorites to win it all, and that was such a choke job that they had in that loss against Houston. That to me, that feels like that could be what Houston views as a championship. That might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong for their sake, and it's a competitive game, but. I feel like that was a bigger surprise win than what Florida had over Auburn, especially the way that it went down.
I'm taking Florida tonight as well. Jake Sorensen and the Huskers, they win the Crown basketball tournament, new tournament. 93.7 The Ticket. He's on every morning in Lincoln. Jake, always appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nate. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Jake Sorensen on tonight from Lincoln talking Huskers. He's on in the mornings. 93.7 The Ticket. On Twitter at 937 Jake Sorensen. Appreciate him hopping on. Listener text coming in on these postseason tournaments. I mean, there were so many of these here over the years. NIT has been the real deal. Then it was, what was it? The college basketball CBI or something. I mean, I just lose track. And now you got this new one, the college basketball crown. That's at FS1. And everyone was like, oh, this is great. The play is good. It's high level. And that's good. I do think the incentive with the money has been good. Listener text coming in, the NIT should get a big sponsor and pay the winners big money, might revive interest. And I would agree with that. I don't know if the NIT, these tournaments are never going to get the casual sports fans' attention like the real tournament. But let's say it's $1 million, not $300,000, like the college basketball crown. Let's say you get $1 million. $1 million in today's media world is nothing. So let's say you pay the winner of the NIT $1 million. So the team gets $100,000 each, basically. I don't know. Do the starters get more than the guy on the bench getting water? Hey, I deserve $100K too. Maybe you give the starters $200K out of that. So you bump down the bench players, but. I think giving the players the money is a great idea in this world of college sports that we are in. I mean, players are getting money left and right. How about we give it to them for actually winning something? So I like that. Who's hot and who's not? We wrap up the show next with stories you may have missed. How big were the ratings for the women's national championship yesterday? So no Caitlin Clark. I said she is the needle. She doesn't move the needle. She's the needle. Did it really fall off with UConn and South Carolina yesterday? The numbers are in. And then how about this? Did you know about this SEC sports rule? This is a rule, and I can't believe that this is a rule. Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Get ready to save plenty of green sprucing up your spring at Fleet Farm. Save $4 on select bags of Miracle-Gro regular and moisture control potting mix. Get a free $25 gift card with any $100 purchase of Ariat or Ariat Rebar clothing and footwear. And celebrate National Griddle Week with a Blackstone 28-inch griddle bundle for just $279.99. Get all your springtime essentials, all at the best prices, guaranteed, at Fleet Farm.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar on West Russell Street in the Ramada Water Park Hotel. If you want to watch games, UFC, they've got it, wall-to-wall TVs, and the best part, great food. Gourmet pizza at Boston's, tons of wing options, great burgers, and a lot more. Bring the family, bring the team, bring your crew to the new Boston's Restaurant and Sports Bar in Sioux Falls on West Russell Street. Plus, you can order online for lunch or dinner. Just go to bostons.com. Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 37 tonight under partly cloudy skies, winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 68, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night, slight chance of thunderstorms, lows dip down to about 41. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 57.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance.
So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog?
What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster!
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Heritage Home Lending in Rapid City is a proud supporter of high school sports. Heritage Home Lending is your locally owned mortgage brokerage, specializing in VA home loans. At Heritage Home Lending, you get to work with local people, offering competitive financing for purchasing and refinancing. Heritage Home Lending is committed to helping our service members and veterans with specific expertise in VA home loans. For all your home loan needs, work with a local company that you can trust. Get started at heritagehomelending.sd.com.
Hey Rush fans, it's Rob at the Firehouse Skybox. We are your official home for Rapid City Rush hockey. When the Rush are playing on the road, join other Rush fans at the Skybox and enjoy some great food and cheer on your Rush. We show every Rush away game and we'll have Rush-themed giveaways every road trip. You'll get a chance to win great Rush prizes with the purchase of a drink or food item. The Skybox has the best food and the best Rush game day experience. Go Rush!
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show every night at this time, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet is at your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Who's hot category going to the UConn, South Carolina women's game yesterday. Yes, who's hot category because that's the third most watched game ever. That's the third most watched game ever. I think people thought, no Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese rivalry, it's out the window. Well, those were the two games that beat this game yesterday. So Caitlin Clark's 2 national championship games beat this one. However, this one averaged 8.5 million viewers and peaked at almost 10 million viewers, and it was a bad game. I mean, it was not a good game. So third most watched women's college basketball championship game ever, just behind Caitlin Clark, right? Just behind Iowa, South Carolina, and then Iowa, LSU. All right, so that's good stuff. Good news on the women's college basketball side. In our Pizza Ranch, who's not tonight? Did you even know this was a rule? I didn't even know this was a rule. The SEC has a baseball rule that you can't begin another inning after 4:30 p.m. in a final game on a Sunday. It allows the visiting team to get back to their campus so athletes can be ready for class the next day. What's class? No. Anyway, I mean, this is SEC sports. We're worried about class. We have a travel curfew. We have to stop a game. Unbelievable. They're not going to stop the game tonight. Florida-Auburn. Florida wins. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school